So I know you battle some depression.
Yes,
Is comedy kind of an outlet for that?
1,000%.
So let's talk about that.
So I remember. I started doing comedy a little over a year ago, like seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I got on stage was 4/20 of 2016. I had just gone through like a bad breakup.
Right.
And I was like trying to figure out like who I was. And a buddy of mine also wanted to do comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and did an open mic in Dallas, where I was living at the time. And I ended up going like second to last. It was like 0% fun. like a really miserable experience. But when I got people to laugh at something I said on stage, like it was like, maybe there's something. I did one more thing where I just bombed miserably in front of like a pretty big crowd and got booed by this lady. And I quit for like over a year. And then I came out to LA for a business trip for one of my side gigs doing like consulting.
Right.
And I went to the Comedy Store in West Hollywood.
Legendary.
Yeah, and I fell in love with it. I was like, this is the best place on earth. Like, there's funny people, like, with, like, a communal purpose. Like, every time I think I found my tribe, like, the niche gets smaller, and I find a tribe within a tribe that I connect with more.
Right.
And, like, walking into a place I'd never been before with a group full of strangers, like, having the common bond of just comedy was like, whoa. Like, just instant connection on, like, a very deep level with people, and, like, an immediate, like, mutual respect.
So I want to get deep here for a second. I hope you're ready.
Let's go.
So I know you battle some depression.
Yes.
Is comedy kind of an outlet for that?
1,000%.
So let's talk about that.
So I remember, like, a lot of the, like, saddest days in my life are tied to specific jokes from my favorite comedians. Like that really bad breakup I went through, Louis C.K.'s special, hilarious. I mean, that may be controversial now because we found out that he's a shitty person. And I had such mixed feelings on that too.
Wait, so I'm not familiar, and I'm sure there's people listening that may not be familiar. So what was in that special that resonated with you?
Yeah, so and the thing about it that I couldn't really tell you is it's the story he tells about himself and just who he is in the world, and he normalizes the crazy thoughts that we all kind of have. And I want to say that that's the one. He has a joke where he talks about like when he's touring for comedy, like he'll eat just terrible for you food and stay in like a room and like jerk off too many times and like I
right.
PG-13 viewers. But like so he just talks like very honestly and brutally honestly about like what his like self-shame spiral looks like, and makes it like a funny, approachable way in a way that there's a room of 200 people that are laughing and can identify with what would usually be the thing you would never want anyone to see.
Right.
And like I remember hearing him talk about these things and finding these funny words and little barbs to add to stories, and it just, even when I was really sad, like I would hit that just like wave of sadness where like reality was there, and it'd be like, oh no, and then there was comedy to remind me that like the saddest parts of my breakups, and like me like pulling over to cry in a parking lot one time and just like sobbing, and then looking up and seeing that I've like pulled up to like a kid's birthday party and they're like all like directly in front of me, and they just saw a grown man pull up and then
it's
just
like
start
out of a
sobbing.
TV show.
And then like you look up from like sobbing, you have snot coming out your face, you're like, oh hey kids, you know what to do about it.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's one of those it's sorry, someone walked by and it totally threw me off.
It's all good. We're in a public park, and we did get harassed by someone before we started, so anything could happen. Sorry in advance about that.
Yeah, but so it just, anytime that I have like a super terrible experience, comedy has given me this incredible tool of what's funny about this and what will this be like to talk about later. Right. And it takes me out of the very temperamental nature of life, which is like, if something goes really terrible, like if I have a bad set, like I feel really bad about that and I beat myself up about it. And there have been times where like there's a specific open mic I really like in Covina at this place called the Chatterbox, and for the longest time I ate dicks every time I got on stage there. Like I just could not perform to my standards, and not even close to my standards, and I just had this stigma about this place, and it took one time of me doing like some battling with a heckler there and
Right.
getting to get kind of into my natural like duke it out element, and then one more time of having a couple jokes go okay, to have one set that I felt okay about. And it wasn't even like a great set, but I still know every Thursday that mic's gonna happen, and I build up like this big mental anxiety around it. But like, if I leave that mic and I've done terribly, the world feels like it's crashing down. But I know that in 5 years, when I've headlined that place and I've gone and done a whatever special or something really big that's happened, the perspective on feeling bad about not performing at this one mic will be so infinitesimally small that it won't matter.
Wow.
And it's the same perspective that I can have when something like getting cut off in traffic or my work's not going my way. Like, I don't know if you know this, comedians do not make any money.
Is that a joke?
No, like we like as a comic, like you don't get paid anything like life worthy
Right.
until you are headlining and touring.
Yeah, isn't comedy? It's kind of like being a musician, right? Like either you're not making anything or you're making a ton.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
no like middle ground, right?
Well, there is for comics because, and just like musicians, like there is a whole middle ground of people that'll make like 80, 90 grand a year and have to spend 50 of that traveling. You know?
Wow.
And then there'll be the people that are like a tier above that, and then there are the superstars. But
Right.
like until you hit that first tier of like traveling and having like several hours of material and like stage presence and connections,